Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Today's topic is wordless sex. There are different kinds out there. We're going to touch on a few. First one is Karezza. It's a type of gentle, affectionate sexual intercourse. Karezza is an Italian word, which it is derived from an Italian word of Karezza, which is obviously meaning caress, and that's the whole goal of the wordless sex. The goal is not orgasm, but reach a relaxed state of union with your sexual partner. It encourages sexual partners to be as relaxed as possible and to take deep breaths when feelings of intense energy surge. So in plain English, this means that when you are in a relaxed state and you're enjoying your partner in that relaxed state, no words, just through the caress, the feel, you get to that point where you feel that your body has that intention for orgasm. It calls for you to step back and breathe, to bring your body back down to that relaxation level. The emphasis with Karezza is not on sexual passion, but spiritual love for another person. Those who do practice this form of wordless sex, the sensual bonding activities such as just smiling at each other in skin-to-skin contact rather than typical foreplay activities, is the sexual arousal, is that intimacy. No words need to be spoken, just a smile. I believe there is a movie out there, and it's The Geisha, in the Memoirs of a Geisha, actually, where she was trained to stuff a man in his tracks just by one look. So imagine practicing Karezza and having just a smile stop your partner in their tracks for that sensual passion and bonding activities. So, I mean, they're just things that we don't think of every day, but are part of it. We do get excited when our partners smile at us and take notice, but that's more of a feeling of being wanted, and that's how we construe it. But with this, it's more sensual, it's more sexual, although the goal is not to go into an off-the-wall orgasm. The idea is still to have that experience. So it's really, really nice. When you, with this, upon reaching sexual intercourse, that act of sexual intercourse is much slower and more relaxed than typical intercourse where you're going to town and humping up the wall and it's hot, it's passionate, how fast can you get your clothes off and, get to the deed, get to that orgasm and just go wild. This is it's more of a more relaxed, more enjoyable, it's more bonding time. It's more taking account and recognition of your partner in all parts and not saying a word. You don't have to say a word to get across what you want sexually and what you want to happen, which is always, what do we have sex for? To have an orgasm. And having an orgasm like this is much more powerful than jumping on each other's bones and just like freaking going all over the house or, just in rough and romantic sex. Although quite fun, it's like a lust. It's like oh my God, I couldn't wait. This is, you want to be enjoying your partner in the other ways, whereas no words need to be spoken to get your sexual point across. Now, the history of Karezza method was, it is a book actually called the Karezza method. It's a 1931 book. It's written by a sex theorist, J. William Lloyd. So, however, someone else is actually responsible for naming it and popularizing it. And her name is it's a woman, and her name is Alice B. Stockham. And it was in the USA where she did this. So, USA, here we go. A gentleman by the name of John Humphrey Noyes. He was from Oneida, New York, actually discovered this method in 1844 and then shaped the practice from actual experiences and experiments in his own marital life, and then calling it male continence, because it was still permissible for a woman to achieve orgasm during the Karezza sexual experience. So, women are more likely to have an orgasm in wordless sex because the way it is, it's a smile, It's the skin-to-skin contact. It's the caress. And because we hold sex at a more deeper level, yes, at times we want to lust. We are human beings, and we are, entitled to that. But in this sense, it's much more sensual, much more spiritual, and it's much more deeper. And a woman is able to feel that and go deeper and have that orgasm without the sexual intercourse. It's like mind over matter, in a sense. However, it does say that according to Lloyd, a major goal of this method is to maintain a strong sexual energy and stave off sexual tension or diminishing sexual desires. Lloyd also went on to write that Karezza is capable of helping to treat various bodily ailments. Well, that's a good note to take a break on. So get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink, come on back, and we will talk about Karezza and its helping capabilities of certain bodily ailments.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now welcome back to our topic about wordless sex and our discussion on the Karezza method, which is one of the top wordless sex methods. Now we left off on its capability of helping to treat various body ailments. First one on the list is for the ladies: vaginal discharge. The one thing we women hate to hear, but this is a form of helping to treat it. Now, another one is also has to do with the genitals. Genital displacements. An example they give is uterine prolapse. It goes on to help treat bladder problems, urethritis, painful menstruation, prostasis. So these are good things, although let it be noted that there is no research to support the Karezza method as a treatment for these medical conditions. If you do have them, please go to your doctor if you are concerned. Although it has not been medically, the research hasn't proven it yet on its healing powers. It is capable of boosting feel-good feelings in the brain, which is because of the sensual activities that are part of Karezza. Like, for example, the cuddling, the smiling and kissing. Again, working on those oxytocin levels in our body, our love or cuddle hormone. And we all have them, we love them, and we like them to be played with. And improving that social bond between partners. Now, we're going to go into how it is performed. Interesting enough. However, there is no one set method to this. However, the Karezza method book by Lloyd does emphasize the need for quiet, warmth, relaxation, and love instead of passion, which is what we usually base all our sexual encounters on for the most part. This actually takes it out of the equation and substitutes it. Now, the sample instructions in the book begins with caressing and verbal communications of the words "I love you," as well as affirmations of beauty and goodness. Touching moves into intercourse, which should be slow and again focused on love rather than passion. There should be focus on unity and becoming one with your sexual partner in feeling, energy, and thought. Yeah, those are difficult, especially when you are cuddling, kissing, and kissing is generally a turn on. This particular method takes time Time. Now, Lloyd actually states that if you're done Karezza successfully, you feel you have experienced a direct unifying connection with your lover. So it's that heavy bond, that more deeper bond, and which is especially good in long-term relationships, marriages, partners for life. So this particular wordless method is one to hold on and put some stock in for you and your partner. I mean, you could have crazy sex the next day and roll your partner all over every piece of furniture in the house. But take the time and do this because you want that bond. It will open up your eyes, open up your relationship, and you'll be much more happier. Now, there are common Karezza positions. Well, they are more relaxed, the majority of them, like lying side by side or on top of one another. Remember, skin-to-skin contact is key here. Penetration should be slow and deliberate to avoid an orgasm. Yes, we want to avoid it. Slow, calculated penetration. So, but it is deliberate, that's what your goal is to do, is to penetrate. But not get in there and hump till wee hours and you're done. It's slow. It's deliberate. This is, we're not going to that orgasm. We're enjoying the skin to skin. Doing this in this way prolongs your sexual experience and increases your connection or magnetism, closeness for all of us, with your sexual partner. So this particular sexual act, everybody talks about, oh my God, how long they went or how short of a time it took. This is more geared to long time, not timed, but long length. I mean, you may just hit that 3-hour mark while doing this, but you're going to get a lot more out of it. During Karezza, they suggest you try using some of the following bonding behaviors to enhance your sensual and sexual experience without causing the orgasm. I know it's tough, but these are ways, different types of sexual ways to reach an orgasm at one point in time. You're not going to go in there, poof, I'm done in a second. Unless you take that break, get something to eat, you come back and you're ready to go again. This actually will prolong that. It'll take you longer to orgasm. Now, some of the things that they suggest, obviously, is smile, especially when making eye contact with your partner. Again, make skin-to-skin contact. The lying side by side or one on top of the other, totally naked, is skin to skin. Give unsolicited approval with smiles and compliments. So basically, your partner smiles at you, and you don't have to say anything, you just know. And you're getting a bit of turn on from that. We are going to take a break here. Go replenish that drink and that snack. Come back, get comfortable, and we will finish out our topic of wordless sex with the Karezza method.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back again to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this is the final portion of our show, so let's finish up where we left off with Karezza and bonding behaviors to enhance your sensual and sexual experience without causing an orgasm. Now, the next one states that you should look into your partner's eyes for a few moments. I think all of us have done this where you're staring intensely into your partner's eyes, and you don't have to talk during it. You just have that feeling. He starts caressing your face. You start caressing his ear or face, or rubbing back. Your partner and you are communicating in different ways during the sex of Karezza, and this is where the wordless sex comes in. Now, it says one of the things to do is listen to your partner intently. I would believe that means to watch and in a sense listen to your partner's body language and see what it's telling you, how you feel and how you want to feel. Silently forgive yourself and your partner for errors or thoughtlessness during the act. And one of the big things is, which is always a good thing to do with your partner, is when you're trying to get that deeper bond or have that more deeper sensual, spiritual sex, especially with wordless sex, because you are working off of what your body is telling your partner, what your eyes are telling your partner, without having to say anything, in achieving an orgasm. It is to synchronize your breath with your partners. When the both of you are breathing in sync with one another, it allows for a more intense, more, not even, I can't even say that it would be practice, but it's like a well-oiled machine where you're working together as one, and you're not concentrating on how they're breathing or how they're moving their body, and they're not doing the same to you. When you are synchronized with your breathing, you don't even realize anything else, because you don't have to talk. You don't have to do anything. It's like you know what each other is already going to do. Just sit back and enjoy it. So, kiss your partner with your lips and tongue. So, let's not go for the deep throat here, but do sensually play around. Nibble a little, but do use your tongue and lips. Cradle or gently rock your partner's head or torso. Do you ever realize that, if you're sitting on the couch together, you can do this naked, because it's skin-to-skin contact, and you're one or the other of you is laying your head on your partner's legs, or you're laying in between their legs, just relaxed, and they start rocking back and forth. It's not a planned thing. It's like almost a natural thing that your body will do, because you're sitting there and you notice that your partner will fondle your hair or rub a particular place. So while they're doing it, it's unconsciously being done. So it's actually a good thing in this sense. It's always a good thing, actually, so I don't think it's ever a bad thing. It's such a nice and comfortable position to be in, and just being there doesn't require anything, no effort, no nothing. So it is very good. Hold or spoon your partner in stillness for at least half an hour. How hard is that for each and every one of you? very hard for anybody to do that, because one part of your body is going to start to move, whether it be caressing one small area of your partner's body or just wanting to get closer and closer, so you move closer and closer. There's some sort of movement. Some people cannot sit for that, sit that long. But when you're not thinking about it, your breath is synchronized. All you have to do is smile at each other, just sitting there. You don't even realize it. And then, you could sit there with the rocking, or you can start to slowly caress one part of, the body. She's going to be very relaxed, and that's what this is all about. But your partner's being turned on. So, now, next thing they say is to make wordless sounds of contentment or pleasure in front of your partner. That's usually a very low moan, or like a sigh, a moan, a hum. So these little things, if they can hear this, lets them know that you are enjoying them. Stroke your partner with the intent to comfort them. Stroke of the hair, stroke of the hand, the arm. You're caressing it, you're stroking it. But it's for comfort levels, because your partner is going to be enjoying that, is going to love it. And this is almost like when you go to the hairdressers and they wash your hair. I have a tendency to fall asleep. I'm sure there's a ton of other people that do, because we're not doing our own hair. But it's the way they're taught to wash your hair by, rubbing your hair, your scalp, making sure all the soap is out, using the water. It is a sensual and sexual thing if you sit back and think about it. So next time you go to the hairdresser, take this with you. Now the next one is massage your partner. Again, especially on the feet, shoulders, or head, because those are the parts of us that are generally tense. But doing that gets relaxation. Your partner will just go into a natural state of it. Hug your partner with the intent to comfort. Little love hugs. Just sit there in each other's arms. Hugs. There's a show that I watch, and the woman on there, she's hugging someone, and she feels, she's giving them comfort. She starts to hum. And it is so cute, but she's kind of doing it to the wrong people. Another one is lie with one ear over your partner's heart to hear their heartbeat. Now, this is an amazing thing, because you're listening to them, their body, their heart, and how it's beating. Remember, this kind of reverts us back to when we were, infants, and our comfort spot was on our mother, and listening to their heartbeat. This comes full circle. Listening to your partner's heartbeat is such a romantic, nonverbal gesture to do. And you learn from them, is their heart running fast? Is it just, beating to the sound of yours? So it's really nice. There's a few other things here, but this is all a really good method. Take the book out the library, or go find it in a bookstore. Look it up. So the next is suck or touch your partner's nipples and breasts. Remember, we had this conversation in another another show where just sitting there and playing with your partner's nipples is such a turn on, and sucking them, it is even more. It's the wetness, the lights, sucking where they're going to get hard. And this can go for male and or female, so don't think that only one side of the coin can do that. Last part, place your hand gently over your partner's genitals with the intent to comfort them, not stroke them or, give you a hand job, but just to comfort them, where they get comfortable with your hand being there. Now, there are some things to know before you try the Karezza method. It is unlike traditional sexual intercourse. The end goal, again, is not the orgasm, but to increase closeness with your sexual partner. Remember that it is the emphasis of the Karezza to not be passion, but love. It may be difficult, or have never tried it, because you probably first time trying out this method. I'm assured you are not going to be pros at it, because you could probably only get so far before you just want to jump your partner's bones and go to town and relieve yourself. It takes time. However, the method is not difficult, but it is because it is so simple, it can easily be overthought. You're thinking too much into it. If you go in there with that end result already there, that you want to get your partner to extreme orgasm, that's where this is going to go awry for you. So, biologically driven sex, which is just regular go to town sex, where the end goal is the orgasm, is generally always stressful and far, far away from that relaxation and bonding that is used in Karezza. So, believe it or not, they do recommend trying the Karezza method for at least 3 weeks, then checking its effect on your well-being. So they want you to try this. It's almost where you're getting a new medication from the doctor, and you want instant gratification from that medicine to make you feel better, when it's going to take that medicine some time to fully get into your system, and your system to get used to it and use it for what it needs to be used for. This is the same thing in a sense. Real odd analogy, but end result is basically the same, aside from the orgasm. You have to do this and continue to do it until you get to that point where it is passion over love over passion, or passion, not love. And I think there's a lot of love in this. So that bond, when you go in to do this, you're not even going to realize that you're doing it. You're going to have that unspoken word. That's why it is wordless sex. We are at the end of the show. And again, enjoyed it with you. As always, do practice safe sex, if not for your partner, for yourself. And I look forward to bringing you more sex topics your way in my next show. So goodbye for now.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.